Growing up as a kid in Nebraska, I played all kinds of sports, including that sport that seems to hold the state's passion.
Man, woman, and child did that. Put them in the aisles.
I played all the way up through high school, but I never figured I'd be wearing pads again, and certainly after transition, I didn't think I'd be playing football at all. But then I ran into this. Then I got a little nudge.
Looking forward to seeing you play some next season too.
And that led to this, and this, and this, and this.
Reverse direction here. That's Webb with the touchdown. Karleigh Webb.
It was quite a first season. I was looking forward to 2024, but we didn't have enough players to have a team. Then an old teammate got together and told me there's a new opportunity. There's a new team. They welcomed me in, and along the way, I did this.
Pitches to Karleigh Webb. And she just runs over defenders, and Karleigh Webb is going to take it 29 yards into the end zone for another touchdown.
I met a sister I didn't know I had, and kept up with others like me who play the game. These are our stories. I'd like to introduce you to our panel for this discussion. All of us, including this reporter, actively play on a team in the Women's Football Alliance, the largest and potentially most successful league in this country operating right now. And actually, I want to start with the person who inspired me to get out and ball out.
Hey y'all, Jacqueline Cook, Jackie or J Block here. I play for the Pittsburgh Passion, used to be with the Cleveland Fusion, and I'm wrapping up my third season at the Pittsburgh Passion, ideally in about a month at the National Championships. Gone 6-0 this season. We're top in the conference and looking forward to our home playoff game against the Tampa Bay Inferno.
Well, I can tell you 6-0, it's one of the best chances the Passion have had to win a championship for a while, including finally toppling the Boston Renegades. Quick question on that. How wide open is it in the pro division right now?
On the East Coast side, Boston is not a team to sleep on. They are extremely good. We've obviously shown that we can do it, so we're going to have to bring our A game against them. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, I do think DC could pull it out too against them as well. I feel like all three teams are extremely capable. And I've not had a chance to really watch the DC-Boston game in detail yet, just because it's been busy prepping for Columbus. But it's kind of anyone's game. You got to put in the work, put that effort in on the field and off the field to get ready for those games.
Now to turn it over to a teammate. Paige?
Hello, I am Paige. I have played for 5 years since 2019. I started in Orlando, which was a Division III team, and I made the jump to the pro level this year after many years of being asked by, J Block over there, and so now I find myself playing with Jackie for the first time, and I believe the first time that two trans women have been on the same team at the same time, but I could be wrong about that. Other than that, I'm just enjoying learning and elevating my game.
Now from Paige, we're going to go to another player who's become a personal favorite of mine because of that nickname.
Absolutely. So my name's Julie Allday. I'm a I guess the current term is offensive weapon for the Columbus Chaos. I have lined up at about 8 different positions on that side of the ball this year. It was a rough season for us. We didn't get off the way we had liked, and by the end we were kind of just doing what we could to get by. I know the last game I was actually our starting quarterback and last remaining quarterback, so there was no safety net there. Absolutely got cleared by Miss Cook over there, who decided to give me a little welcome to the family, so to speak, in my second year here in the WFA.
Last up among the group, and certainly not least, is somebody who I had the opportunity to run into literally. Missy, you're up.
It's Tony from New Hampshire Rebellion, number 52, outside linebacker. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm back on doing this. Yeah.
And last but not least, when I'm not behind a microphone, I'm playing for the Division III Connecticut Ambush, brand new team in the WFA this year, a combination of 3 teams in Connecticut. And in this opening season, we did pretty well and gave a good account of ourselves going 4-2, but unfortunately missing the playoffs. But in 2025, who knows? We look to turn the other around. I play running back, tight end, defensive end, and linebacker, and all the special teams. For all of you, to begin with, what made you want to play?
So I started playing in high school I liked playing sports. I played all sorts of sports out there, and I had a coach come up in the hallway and say, like, hey, you should give this a shot, which I know is not like a common experience for people out there. I had never really watched football growing up. I was not like a huge football fan, and I didn't even know how the rules worked. People were still explaining it to me a couple years in. But I was a decent athlete. I ended up making all county, played for a really good team, won the league a couple times, and even had college interests and offers and stuff too. Boston College was one of them. And I just fell in love with how mentally interesting it is. It's built upon diversity. You can't have everyone on the same team looking the same, being the same height and weight and athleticism. You're all different types of athletes. If everyone looks the same and is built the same, it's not going to be the best team out there, right? You have to have diversity in the sport. And I also love how cerebral it is. Every game feels like a war mixed with all these different battles. You might win some battles and lose some battles. It's like a chess match every single play.
I was 10 years old. I started playing Pop Warner. I played only 3 days, but a couple of, 20 years later, my teammate from the Violent Femmes asked me, hey, come out, join this team. And I did.
Now, one thing for all of you, I want all of you to ring in this. What was it like for you to walk into this thing? What was the first day of practice like walking in to a team that's mostly or entirely cisgender women?
I knew that I was walking in on a team that had a trans woman at least. So that gave me a little more confidence that the team was going to be cool, that they're going to have their act together and understanding the rules and everything like that. I was terrified walking the team because I was almost 40, probably 35 or so at that point. Wondering these little athletes may be running circles around me. I'm not going to have a place to fit in. I was in the gym 7 days a week, pushing myself to get faster and stronger and ready to go. And this is before COVID, hoping that I could hang. And I had a spot on the team immediately, but it was just nervous the whole drive up to Cleveland.
Yeah, so I stepped on to our current practice field over in Whitehall and walked out the very first day. I was welcomed by quite a few players. I was nervous. I'll get out. I had no idea what I was walking into. I was like, I'm going to take the time. I heard about the chaos. I was like, I'm going to take this off season. I'm going to get in shape. Next year, I'm going to try out. Then I heard on the radio, oh yeah, there's actually one more tryout this year. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. And walk out there. Within 3 seconds, the coach looks at me and goes, I am so glad to see you here. And I'm like, okay, I'm welcome here. And also, I am a lineman for you. I understand this now. So we are in short supply in this league sometimes. So it was nice. And thankfully, some of my teammates had been educated and had some possibly not so fun interactions that had they've grown from since before I joined the team. So I've been very lucky that my teammates have been very welcoming and very amazing since the jump.
Coming from Orlando, I'm from Orlando. I'm a Florida native. Orlando went through some terrible tragedy with the Pulse shooting and everything that happened in 2016. They lost one of their coaches and everything like that. And the team just kind of banded together. And anybody who came in after that, they were welcomed into a very, very tight knit family. And I was the only person on my team. And it was very daunting. It was very scary. I didn't tell anybody. The owner knew, but I did not tell anybody at all that that I was trans, because I was like 2 years into my transition at that point, and yeah, this was 2019, but I don't know, like they just welcomed me in, and when I eventually told them, they didn't care. They were just like, "Hey, you're our sister. We've got you." And then when people would say, you know, bad things to me on the field, they held me up, picked me up, and like brought me back, down. And so yeah, I'll always be thankful for the Orlando Anarchy for that. I played in the 2019 championship. I actually played with cracked ribs. We were down to like I think 15 people at that point due to injuries. Tackled a girl, cracked my ribs, couldn't breathe. Still out there playing O line and D line because we only had like 17 or 18 women the entire season. So I played both ways the entire season.
Now, one thing I noticed having played against the Rebellion this year is that, Missy, your team loves you. Yep. How vital is that? And also, this is for all of you and for all of us in a sense. How vital is that to know that your teammates have your back?
Amazing. The first day I walked on that field, shout out to Kristen, Selena Collins, Dewey Wed. They were the first two welcome me on that team, especially with Selena. After the board meeting and captain meeting, she came right to my car, said, "Hey, dude, stick around. We want you." And
go on.
She said, "This is faith. We lost a teammate of ours beginning of the year, June last year, January, and you came on, you placed her." So it's like we had a tragedy, car accident. The girl lost her life, and you know what? A little tear coming down my eyes thinking about how lucky I am to be on the Rebellion.
The way Leah Thomas got treated wouldn't be tolerated probably in any of our teams. Why do you think that is, that in a sense, how has this sport kind of gotten ahead of the curve?
I think we are a little bit blessed by the unknown nature of the sport. I think it's a shame. I want women's tackle football to have like real backing and real support. Sorry, my dog is mooing like a cow in the background. But you're not seeing the support from like how the WNBA has it from the NBA, or like how like women's pro soccer is getting same pay as men's pro soccer in the US. Like we're not seeing the same level of support from the country overall. So therefore, by the sport and the league flying under the radar, I think we're flying under the radar a little bit too. But I still feel like there's a target on my back every time I walk on the field too, regardless of who all is supporting me on my team and on other teams.
What about the rest of you? Do you also feel that? Because I mean, there is that scrutiny.
I mean, yeah, all it takes is one hit, right? All it takes is one play. Former player that doesn't play anymore for the Boston Renegades, Ali Gennaro, right? She was a monster at linebacker, and the amount of stuff that would go on, right? It's one hit, one bad play, one whatever, and not to say like we're the next Leah Thomas, right? But we could be like the next viral sensation, right? And so, like Jackie said, it's very daunting to even put on the pads, because all it takes is one person to say the wrong thing at the right time, or the wrong time or whatever, and like there you go. Now you're out in front of everybody.
How do you all feel about the possibility that when you walk in that field, you not only represent yourself and your team, in some ways do you ever feel like at times I'm representing that Azure Salmon and Cream too? I'm representing who we are as a community. And in fact, one person in this room took that representation to one of the ultimate levels. And yes, Julie, I'm talking about you. Doing it on the Ohio Senate floor, speaking some serious truth.
With my job, I'm not really afforded to not be representing the community. As a member staff who is supporting so much of our queer youth in Columbus, I really felt like I had to step up in that moment. And that, to speak to what you were saying before about teammates supporting you, my teammates and my organization supported me every step of the way with that. I got permission to wear that chaos jersey on the, in the state house to give that that testimony to them. And I know that it can paint a bit of a target on me. I know that my size and how I play the game can put a target on me. And I don't know what happens in other teams' film rooms, but I get the feeling that I get spotlighted a few times. And in a way, I've kind of, especially in this last game and this last season, I've started to kind of lean into it by, understanding that I am a representation of not just my team, my city, who I am, but also this community as a whole. And I want to do what I can to make sure that I'm visible in that way. So, I was wearing the trans colors on my cleats all season. I had a wristband on during our most recent game. And it's little things like that just feels silly to mention at all. But, when we're talking about all the ways that we're visible and all the ways that people speculate before they get a chance to meet us because they see how we play, they see how you move, they see how you hit. I want to make sure that I maintain ownership of my story, of who I am, and to give that space to everyone else to own their own story and not let people create a narrative about them.
What was each of yours I belong here moment? Some on-field player, whatever, where you realize that, yeah, this is where I should be. I belong here.
All right. First year at Pittsburgh, Aaron Truex from the Boston Renegades, who was one of the hosts from the Cleat Sheets podcast too. When we were going through and high-fiving and GGing at the end, she pulled me aside, gave me a hug, and talked softly in my ear saying, don't let anyone ever tell you you're not allowed on this field. You belong to be on here as much as anyone else on this field. And that's after we'd been battling all night long, right? I think I had her handprint on my arm that night and bruises. I cried on the spot.
I do want to talk about the I belong moment. I want to get on that because it wasn't just an I belong moment. It was a we belong moment because I remember that week leading up to that game, Manchester ink paper story. Reading about it's like the rebellion has a trans woman on their team. And I was like, and my team was there. I was hyped up. I could not wait to meet this person. And I remember kickoff and I see you 10 yards away. And I just beamed with a big smile saying, this is all. I was like, I cannot wait for this. This is going to be fun. For you, what was that like knowing that, okay, there's one of me, granted, wearing another uniform, and I want to knock her the hell on out, but still that's a sister on the other side. And by the way, 4 tackles that night, and I was on the receiving end of 3 of those.
Yeah, that was a special moment. And honestly, I saw you just a player, another player. I didn't care what uniform you're on. I saw you as a player. You're playing against me. I'm going after you. That's all I saw it as. And when you came up to me and said, "Hey, good job, sister," I was like, "Holy crap! I'm playing against a trans person."
We had to do that. That's just another thing. When you do have to play against each other, what for all of you, what is it like? And Julie, I want to start with you because you got it up. You got it pretty up close this week. I mean, getting to play a person who's not only getting to play against a pro team, but getting to play against somebody who's, she won't say it, but I will, has inspired a lot of us in this thing.
Yeah, that was it was a very special moment for me personally because I don't know if there's any other trans women on the teams I've played against. Like I said, it's my second year in the league, and to step up and, watching the game film was probably the most nerve-wracking time of my life, because I see that they have a front where there's Miss Cook and Miss Page there standing right next to each other, 63 and 65, and I go, I'm the quarterback here. This is not going to be a fun time. And I believe that this one here is a particularly bad time for me. Yeah, so we're running the option, and
Oh God.
Oh,
Jacqueline, really? Really?
like I said, I got welcomed into the pro level game there very quickly.
Jacqueline, really?
My
Really?
highlight reel is just getting up after Jacqueline hits me. So, and that was probably the bigger hit. The second one later on, though, was the one that actually was like the one I'm still feeling, because we ran that same play the other direction, and she almost takes me out with the center. But then after that, she just swarms me from behind and lands on top of me. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna survive this. But no, it was a great time, and I had such a good time being able to share the field with two amazing people who have done so much for the game. And I know Paige will never take the flowers that she is truly owed, but
Well, Julie, what was you doing as an option quarterback? That's what I want to know. Option
sometimes,
quarterback.
hey,
looking like Kirk Herbstreit at Centerville High.
So that is a secret, is that I'm actually not a terrible quarterback in the right circumstances. The wrong circumstances is on a week's preparation against the number one team in the country. Don't recommend that as a quarterback, but so we had been practicing this option throughout the season. We've shown it a couple times throughout the year, but our starting quarterback was no longer with the team. Our second quarterback was injured the week before, and we were left with a QB me.
What's the one thing in this season you'll never forget?
Beating Boston. And at that note, I gotta go. But a quick plug: Paige left Florida. Florida was so hostile, so she has bad own experience of fleeing. But I gotta jump to go to a film session. It's a pleasure talking to all y'all.
We played a team this year that I never really had, not to say it's never happened, but it's never been like this bad before. The stuff that's been said to me on the field by multiple teams, but one team in particular, I don't really want to name the team, but they are a playoff bound team, and they said some horrific things to both Jackie and myself, and refused to shake our hands in the line. And I got upset, right? Like I got frustrated, and I started, I just walked away. Like I was like, I'm done with football. I'm done with the sport. I don't want to do it anymore. And I took off my gear and I walked away from the huddle at the end of the game, after we won. And we have this thing in Pittsburgh called what is it called? The rookie vet program or something, or adopt a rookie program.
Adopt a rookie program.
Yeah, adopt a rookie program. And so I have this vet. Now I've been playing football longer than this vet has been playing football herself, but she's a Pittsburgh vet and I'm a Pittsburgh rookie. So she grabs me and we just take off and we just walk to the other side. And it just so happened to be that my teammates from Orlando surprised me. At like 5 or 6 of them just showed up, didn't even tell me that they were coming to the game. And it was my first time back in Florida, and they saw what happened. Everybody came up, like a few other people from Pittsburgh came up, and they just said, you keep your head up high. You belong on this field. Don't let anybody, tell you otherwise. And that was the moment that I realized that I changed people's outlooks on trans women in sports, especially football, because a lot of those people that were there used to have differing opinions before they saw me play, before they played next to me, before they saw that there wasn't really an advantage or anything like that. So I had about 8 or 9 people holding me up on one of the worst nights that I have played football, and I will never forget that.
Like there's the stereotypical answers, like just the resilience of this team has been really what it was this year. It difficult doesn't begin to describe some of the trials and tribulations we had, but I think I came off the field after I had gotten a couple, as I believe they call them J blocks over there in Pittsburgh, when Jacqueline takes you out a little bit. But I come off of after a couple of those and a couple turnovers, and my teammates just kind of all came up to me at one point and just like, "Hey, you're stepping up, you're doing this. Thank you. Like, stop beating yourself up. Let's just try to have some fun here." And so for the rest of the game, that's just what we did. And so it was just really, really special to have that moment of like, even though it had been, we lost 63-0, it was a solidarity moment of just like, yeah, we're in this together, and it's still special to spend that time with your friends, your family, and the people who have your back in so many different ways.
I have three. First one,
All right.
my tackle in the beginning of that game. That was a huge thing for the community. Second one, my first sack ever in WFA. I could hear Celine Collins still screaming my name on the sidelines. And third, getting respect from Coach Rossi and knowing I'm a great player that he has.
One happened this past weekend. It was our pride game. We had a pride game, and it was the first time that I ever wore the colors on the field. It was the first time I ever wore them. The first time I ever wore. And not only that, my teammates, because I had a bunch of trans flag arm sleeves, and my teammates wore them. So my teammates wore them. Sherelle Allen, yes, I'm shouting you out. Erica Voda, who was our leading receiver for the game, she had some great catches in that game, and she's wearing one of my trans flag arm sleeves in the game. And of course, Derby Anderson, who is wonderful, welcoming young person on our team. She was the first one to ask, can I wear one? But also in the stands, Fallen Fox was at the game. Yeah, that Fallen Fox was at the game. She lives outside the Boston area right now. She lives outside of Boston. And I told her about I told her I had a couple of games coming up. Hey, if you want to attend, come out. And she came out to our pride game. A legend among our people came to my game just because I asked. MMA legend Fallen Fox was in the house Saturday night and came to see me and my team play. And I'm glad to say we didn't disappoint. In many ways, it was fitting that Fallen was there on that night, because at that same time, in a number of ball fields across the country where women's football games are played, there are transgender people dotting those rosters. A group of my friends, 3 of them as a matter of fact, played a different game up in Columbus, Ohio, at the same time that I was going after the Havoc. And next week, you're going to I talked to them in a roundtable of trans women who hit the gridiron to talk about our stories and how we feel being out there. You'll want to check that out. But in many ways, we are, because first, Fallen Fox was and Fallen Fox still is a legend and a fighter that Outsports Zig Ziglar called the bravest athlete in all the sports. And you can make a pretty compelling case for that statement. I had a chance to talk to Fallen after the game, and Fallen noted the level of acceptance in football is something that was a pleasant surprise for her.
Wow, it was really amazing to watch you get out there and actually just it just felt like you're out there taking the torch from me, you know what I'm saying, in a way. Alana took that in MMA, and now you're taking it in football. It's just that continuous, thing for trans athletes, so yeah.
So, how does it feel for you to not have so many progeny out there? Because in many ways, whether people Even if they don't acknowledge it to your face, they know. They know who found. They know that because Fallon Fox did, the door was open. What does that feel like for you, knowing that hey, those who came after you, they're still doing it, even in these difficult times that we're in right now?
Yeah, I mean things are tough right now. You know, I don't even know how many more years we're going to be able to do this. To be honest, you know, hopefully this continues, but it feels really good to see like so many transgender athletes, especially like you right now.
This is Transposition Sports. I'm Karleigh Webb here on another Karleigh's Clipboard edition of Transposition Sports, because you caught me just after I did my morning workout. Now, why am I out here in this hot sun working out? Because next year I'd like to be where three people I really like are this coming weekend. Winner goes on to WFA Championship Weekend, July 27th in Canton, Ohio. And by the way, yours truly will be there for Transposition Sports. I'll be doing a hit from there, and I'll be filing some reports for future Transposition Sports episodes. But how did these teams get here? Inferno Passion from Pittsburgh, National Conference playoff game in WFA Pro second quarter, tied at 7-0. Paige Cox. That didn't look good. Get the trainer, please. Trainer, get out there. Torn ACL. Cox could limp off the field, but she's done for the rest of the playoffs. Passion would close ranks. Later in the quarter, score still tied. Devin Pierce, 29 yards, gets the blocks. Look at the spin move, and she looks cool doing it. Touchdown, Passion. It's 14-7. Later second quarter, Pierce again up the gut, gets to the 1 yard line, sets up a short touchdown run to make it 20-7 Passion. And then the Inferno driving, they're threatening late, 3rd and 2, and Jacqueline Taylor Cook denies the first down. Football hugs for everyone. It was 27 at the half. In the fourth quarter, Cook snuffing out an Inferno chance to get closer by blocking the extra point. And from there, the Passion put it on cruise control. Speaking of cruise control, Olsen Malarski gets the handoff and Afterburners activated. 80 yards, you're not catching her. The Passion roll on to win 41-13. Next up, a conference championship fight with the Boston Renegades Saturday night. In WFA Division III Northeast Regional Playoffs, the Maine Mayhem taking on the New York Knockout. Team split during the season. Second quarter, no score. Maggie Swofield goes long ball to Elaine Garrett down to the 1. And on the next play, it sets up the All-American Mahala Smith just doing what she do. Touchdown, 7-0 Mayhem. But you see the knockout next possession, it's tank. Her name's Hannah Jennings. First play, gets all of it. Next play with goal to go, gets more and all of it. 7-7, it's tied. It stayed that way till late fourth quarter. 1:20 left. Slofield to Smith. Oh, you don't want number 19 in space with the ball in her hands. Snakes the Mayhem closer. They have a shot at winning this in regulation. But 2 plays later, the corner blitz was coming. That led to a fumble. Oh, there was a scramble for it. The clock ended up running out. Neither team could score, and that led to overtime. First overtime. Alana Lang with the field goal. That could give them knockout the lead. Nope, partially blocked. Then it was the Mayhem's turn. Chelsea Watson lines up. She can win it here. Snap down, kick up. Partially blocked to go to the next overtime, and that's when the Mayhem say, we're going to put it in Emily Brasicki's hands. First play, off left tackle. Got some of it. Next play, we're going to run off right tackle, and we're going to get the rest of it. 13-7 Mayhem. Oh, the lobster will be tasty if the defense can hold. And the knockout refusing to die. Jennings rumbles to set up a new set of downs. 4 plays to win it or lose it. 3 plays they couldn't punch it in. That led to this one, 4th in the season, and the Mayhem said, no chance, we want to move on. The defense stiffens. The Maine Mayhem win it 13-7. That sets up a conference championship fight with the Cincinnati Cougars up in Maine Saturday night. And joining us now, a special treat, the Maine Mayhem, Ollie Cleveland, right here on Transposition Sports, fresh off that victory, heading to the National Conference Championship game this upcoming weekend in Lewiston, Maine, a town that's steeped in sports history. Remember, the second Ollie Liston fight was fought where? Lewiston, Maine. Ollie, Welcome to Transposition Sports, and congratulations on an epic win against the New York Knockout. First, how nervous was that overtime on that sideline and in that game? How much tension was there?
There was a lot of tension. We were in double overtime, and first of all, thanks for having me, and I'm glad to be here and spend some time with you. That moment was tough. Anytime you're in overtime, especially, that had been a battle all day long, and we scored, and then we had to stop them, which is a great position to be in. But they were getting close.
I can imagine it had to be a difficult run. After both teams scored early, and then it went from track meet to trench warfare for the rest of the game. It was and true to form of a Maine Mayhem game, very physical. Now that's one thing. Now, neither of us are spring chickens. I'm 53. You're 61. How do you keep up with the physicality, especially the slam ball, for example, that the Ambush and the Mayhem played in 2 games this year?
Yeah, it's a lot. For me, it's a lot of rest. Honestly, I train real hard during the off season, and then back off on the training, and just really do a lot of rest and stretching and water. But it takes a while. It takes longer to recover, and it's the little things. It's not the big quad muscles getting pulled or anything. For me, it's feet and fingers and those kind of things. Yeah.
You played on 2 teams this year.
I've been
You're out
blessed
the
this
W.
year.
You're in the WNFC. You're at the Utah Falcons. Led the league in tackles, I believe, last year.
Mm-hmm.
Came, and then this season, you were looking to move back to Maine anyway. And then it turned out things kind of. How did that all work out?
It worked out. There's a lot of synchronicity. Actually, it actually worked, and I'd been keeping in touch with the Mayhem over the years, anyways, while I was out west. And this year, when the Falcons, it was clear that we weren't going to make playoffs. Then I got in touch with the Mayhem and just said, "Hey, it looks like I could make the mid-season point where you need to be to play with the WFA," and it all worked out. There was a lot of. I drove cross country twice in my Mini Cooper to make it happen, but it was definitely worth it. And the Mayhem, both teams were a pleasure to be a part of.
You've been playing some football for more than a minute. In fact, if I understand right, about 20 years. First,
I think this is my 18th season coming up. This season.
18 years. And during that time, found yourself, found your truth, pursued that, moved forward in it, and pursued this game. What has it meant for you to not only move forward in your transition, but also to be out here playing this game authentically?
Yeah, it means I would say it means everything, but there are other parts of my life as well. But it's such a gift to be able to continue to play this game that I've played since I was little. And so I'm grateful for every snap I get. And lately I'm getting a lot of them. So it means a lot. And as I start to see a place where I'll be done playing, there's a chance to get back in and coach and be a part of continuing to build the women's game.
You were a linebacker out in Utah. You protect Maggie Schlofield's blind side with the Mayhem. Yeah. Which job do you like more?
Well, I like tackling people, but I love playing anywhere on the O line. But I do like the responsibility that comes with that left tackle position. And I know Mag counts on me, and you and I battled quite a bit at that spot when we were out on the field together, and so I do love defense. It's what I grew up playing. But in the last 2 seasons in Utah, one season I was linebacker the whole season, and this year before I was center the whole season. So at this point, however I can contribute to any team's success, that's what I'm looking for.
Now, one of the great things is you're not alone out here on this field. There are others like you playing. We dot rosters across many leagues.
Yeah.
What does it mean? First, what does it mean for you as someone who has played as long as you have to see others like yourself jumping into it? People like a Jacqueline Cook or an Erica Meacham, who in turn inspired me to get out there.
Yeah, I'm thrilled about it. We talked after the game, and when we're out there battling, you're another woman playing football, and so, but to find that we are setting the stage and plowing the ground. I've spent a lot of time farming in my life, and the new ground is the hardest to plow, and we're doing it, and then that makes it easier for other women that want to come along and play the game that they still love or have always loved and never got a chance to play. Well, that is a sweet feeling that we get out there and we get to battle a little bit. And there was a couple of friends that I had in the WNFC that were trans as well, and so and we always had great battles.
I want to touch on this game coming up.
Yeah,
because Cincinnati, fast team, they like moving the ball around, and the one thing about Maine, having played them twice this year, what you see is what you get. They're going to line up, no tricks, no subterfuge. They're going to line up and systematically execute and be physical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, give me for those who may be checking in the game. By the way, the game's going to be streamed this weekend. If you can't make up to Lewiston, who are the people on the Mayhem that if you haven't been versed, especially in women's football, who do I look out for?
Well, you got to look
obviously
out for
besides number
Curtis.
8.
Yeah, Frankie Curtis, 56. She plays guard and she plays defensive end. We used to have a Queen of the Trenches battle every year on the Mayhem, and she was a wrestler growing up. And I've never played against anybody who has that level of control. If you give her a little bit of leverage, it's over. So she's really a force to be reckoned with. And Emily Brzicki, number 33. Emily plays defensive end as well, but she's also a tailback that's 6 foot, and I don't know what she goes for.
Emily was like, she's Ms. Inside. I know about her because she's Ms. Inside, because she's running a tackle. Every you hand her the ball, I'm thinking like, I got to tackle you. God dang it! I was like,
yeah. So there's talent. The beautiful thing about the Mayhem is that there's talent everywhere. We're super rich in rookies this year who are very athletic and talented, and so I think we match up pretty well against Cincinnati. I've watched a lot of film on them, and I'm extremely impressed with their coordinator's ability to call plays and set up plays, and then the team to execute. They have an inside run game, they have an outside run game, they got inside, deep pass game, short pass game. They're a formidable opponent.
One person that we got to mention, number 19.
Yeah.
We got to mention Mahal Smith. We can't go there and not talk about that, because I spent a season chasing after her. I'm still
so glad I don't have
able
to
tackle her. I'm still trying. I feel good about myself because I'm my age and can still tackle her. So you know what? But seriously, a second team All-American this year, even though I think there should be a recount. This team's extremely talented. But for you, what does it mean for you to have the opportunity to win a championship? Because conference championship and the possibility of playing in Canton for all the money. Yeah,
it's really a great opportunity, and we all will be leaving everything we have on the field, because it's that time, and that's the goal. That's been the goal for that team since the beginning, and they were so close last year, and this year we feel like we're ready to go, and we have a great game plan, and our coaches are always getting us ready. We've got meetings every night this week. We'll be ready on Saturday.
One thing before I let you go, though, is how do you answer to those who say, Holly Cleveland, you should not be playing. Jacqueline shouldn't be playing. That Karleigh Webb character in Connecticut, they shouldn't be playing. It's unfair that they let you play. How do you answer to that?
Well, as a teacher, I say to my students, fair is not always equal. But I also say, and when people answer that or ask that question, I'm a woman, and so if we got to start at that place, and if we disagree at that point, then it doesn't really matter what I have to say, but we're women out there playing tackle football, and um, do I have an advantage? I do have an advantage because I played since I was 7 years old, and I played 12 seasons in the school, and then I played 18 seasons. So I'm going on my 30th year. That's an advantage. I do accept that, but I'm also 61 years old, and so and anybody else who's playing, and it, having transitioned from male to female is not my advantage. My advantage is that I work hard. My advantage is that I study film. My advantage is when you line up, I know what formation you're in and I know what your tendencies are to that formation. Those are my advantages because I do my homework, and there's a lot of people who are bigger than 6'1", 220 who are out there playing. So physicality is not it. It's what's happening up here and knowing the game. And so there are rules that you have to follow to be a trans woman playing football, and we follow them. And those are our burdens to bear. We do our tests and we turn it in, and those are the rules. So we're playing by the rules. So let's just go out and battle and have fun and enjoy the game we love, and let the best team win.
I'm looking forward to seeing a great game Saturday. They pull it out, Maine, New England pride, and then we'll hope to see it Canton. Ollie Cleveland, thank you for being on Transposition Sports. And also, it was good to finally meet you, and I look forward to meeting you in person, perhaps in Canton, for the championship game.
We'll be in Canton, and I look forward to playing against you next year, too.
I'm looking forward to that as well. But hey, Ollie, thanks and good luck Saturday.
Appreciate it. Good luck. Thank you.